Weird. Hey, what's up? Hang on, we're waiting for everybody to come over. All right. Oh. Yeah, what up?
Hey, buddy.
Oh my gosh, what a disaster. I'm glad I'm doing this impromptu, so like I don't have like this really big conversation or something and I look like a complete jackass.
All right.
I was wondering because I kept posting the link in John's little chat thing, and I'm like, "Are you guys not seeing this?" And Bianco's texting me. He's like, "Yeah, you got to go live." I'm like, "Oh, go live!" Like, wow, what a dope.
It's midnight. No one else is watching. It's all good.
Well, yeah. Well, John threw out the bat signal, and he's like, "Anybody up?" And I'm like, "Just cleaning records." You know, my wife's like asleep on the couch, and I'm got a basketball game on. I'm like, "Yeah, sure."
My wife is going to bed, and I'm sitting editing a video.
Oh, are you? Is this your part two?
Part two.
Nice. Oh, here we go. Oh, there he is.
Dude.
Look at this. Hey, listen, finally figured it out.
Crazy.
Special needs McGillicuddy here. Oh,
dude.
There it is.
There we go.
Hello. Wow. Yeah.
I was
special,
not
nuts. Special needs. Sorry, guys. Oh man. So anywho, well, thanks for coming on. Is this all right? I just figured like it just make it easier to kind of throw the back and forth. If that's cool.
Yeah, no, this is great.
Cool. Sorry, I wasn't trying to steal your thunder, John. I promise you.
No.
No, it's good. I think that's.
I got it.
It's the way we learn.
Perfect. Who ended up winning the football game, John?
Cincinnati.
Yeah, Cincinnati pulled it off.
Interesting.
What's football?
Oh, get out. Listen, you got that Doug Flutie fan club thing up there. I know how the CFL is. Come on.
Hockey.
Oh.
Yeah, hockey puck.
Yeah. Too many hockey pucks.
Yeah. Well, Rob, you're up late though. Like I know. Well, I don't want to speak for John or David, but I'm off work tomorrow, so I'm staying up a little bit later because you guys got it. You got to hit the pavement. Oh, sorry, dude.
Well,
I'm working from home tomorrow.
Oh, well, #sales. That's nice. Been there.
I'm on the road the rest of the week, so tomorrow's the office day.
How much? I know you traveled to Atlanta at one time. How much are you in the States?
Never, like twice a year.
Oh, that was kind of like an outlier.
Whenever Trudeau lets him.
That's right.
Gives him a pass.
So funny story.
Yeah.
Chance saved my life in Atlanta.
Oh, come on.
It's true.
Come on.
I was done in Atlanta.
I
was done in Atlanta for work, and we were at I'm in the commercial woodworking industry, so we're at the International Woodworking Fair. It was the day before the show. We were setting up. I'm at the convention center. I'm about to leave to go to my hotel. They get a message on Instagram from Chance going, "You're in Atlanta today, right?" I'm like, "Yeah." He goes, "Well, you might want to be careful because there's an active shooter downtown, and they've locked down part of downtown." I'm like, "Holy shit!" So I look up where it is, half a block from my hotel. I'm like, I'm going to sit tight at the convention center for a couple hours.
Wow.
Yeah, it was just luck of the Irish because he had literally just mentioned it, and it. I think I was like, I took a break from work, and I was reading the headlines, and they're like, active shooter in Atlanta, and I was like, Rob's in Atlanta, so just hey man. Just curious if you're anywhere. I figured that he was nowhere near this. Like I figured he was in
right,
and then he's like, "What?" He's like, "Literally, that's right where we are." And I'm like, "Oh my god, get down, get out of there,
duck."
Duck." Yeah.
When I eventually got to my hotel after the all clear was issued, I could see the building with the caution tape in front of it. Like, that's how close it was.
Oh, geez.
So then, did you next morning get out of? You're like, no more states. I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Those Americans love their guns too much.
Well,
that's right.
Yeah. Wow. Well, I mean,
we don't have guns up here. I just have a baseball bat underneath my bed.
Yeah.
Yeah, I used that on my wife a few times too.
You too.
Oh, not that baseball bat. Sorry, wrong one.
Oh boy, you better delete this
When
chat.
you're rounding third,
Is this on my channel, guys? What?
The lawyer brings in the evidence.
Right. Yeah. First and last live stream. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, right.
Oh my gosh. Yeah, so I see my son is the famous Gloop 64. I see he's jumped in here.
Okay.
He's also has no school tomorrow, so I'll see him tomorrow. So we'll see how active he is. It's hilarious.
What's a plug walk?
I have no idea. I don't speak these youth language. I just kind of I kind of go with it. But I'm sure I'll
youths.
youths.
So
Yeah,
if you're a concert buddy, do we call him Little Buddy?
Oh well, he's about as big as me these days. So he's actually, it's funny, he's getting into records now, and like I took him to the record show this weekend, and he did pretty good. I've been trying to coach him up right, and I've been trying to teach him how to haggle and stuff, and he bought a couple records from one vendor, and I didn't even tell him. I was like, all right, well, see if you can work out a deal. And I had it in my mind what he should offer, and then he came back and he's like, yeah, that's what I offered him. So way to go, guy.
Nice.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah.
I don't know why I feel like I should be doing a whack-a-mole right now.
Pull it out. Go ahead.
Pull it out.
Let's see what you got.
Yeah.
You got to tell us about it, though. Put you on the spot.
Oh, it is a test pressing of Cornerstone by Styx on a Nautilus half-speed master.
Wow.
It was sent to me by Mr. Dennis D. Young, who was the lead singer for Styx.
Oh, now he's just name dropping. Come on.
Sorry, I mean literally.
Come on.
They played for my high school fundraiser in '74.
No kidding.
They were nobody. They were out of Chicago. They had just released Styx 2. Lady hadn't even become a single yet. I paid $500 for them.
Wow.
So he sent me this a few years back.
How did you keep in contact that whole time?
I'm just that kind of person.
The restraining order only said 500 feet. Is that what's going on? Okay.
It goes back to the baseball bat.
Yeah, there you go. Hey, when you're short, you got to have your
play to your strengths.
That's funny. That's funny, that one of all ones. But anyway,
Wow. I don't even know how to come close to that. I have a Bruce Hornsby signed over there. That's about.
Oh, there you go.
Rob, look at these guys. They're just flexing on us left and right, man.
Oh,
I know, man.
I'm upstairs in my office. I have nothing cool here. I've got some jazz records, but this probably isn't the audience for that.
Oh, heck yeah, jazz. Let's do it. Come on.
Hey, John, but in fairness, you've been kind of getting into jazz. Like, I know I've commented a couple times the limited jazz that I can bestow upon you. Like Lee Morgan, Lee's my guy, and he's my North Star. If I know he's part of a session, generally, except when he was in his big heroin phase, generally it's a safe place to play. But
yeah,
where else have you tried? Like, who are jazz guys have you checked out?
Well, my big one's Art Blakey. That's my big.
Sure.
And if I see his name, I grab it. I started with the standards, with Miles and all them, but I'm kind of like with Mazzy on that too. I like Kind of Blue, but In a Silent Way is my favorite by him. I like that much better. So Lou Donaldson, he just came on my radar last year too, and I'm trying. You don't see anything on vinyl from him. I have one. So I want to get more Lou Donaldson.
The name sounds familiar, but what's he play? What's his instrument?
No, he's a sax player.
Sax guy, okay.
But he incorporated some Congo accompaniment on it, and I love that. I loved what he did with that. I forgot the name. I'm looking up the album right now.
Well, John, if you like Congo work, I learned about this guy from the Kenny Burrell Tone Poet, introducing Kenny Burrell, and it was this guy named Candido. Have you heard this name? David, have you heard this name? Rob?
Sounds familiar.
I had no clue. I put the Kenny Burrell on, and Kenny Burrell's like a guitar player, right? So he's playing jazz guitar. And all of a sudden, I don't even know the song, so I'm not even going to try to flex. This monster on the congos just starts, I'm slapping it crazy. And it literally, I was like, whoa, what is happening here? So then I go down the well of who was that? And it's this famous congo player named Candido. And holy smokes, blew my mind. And not really famous because obviously that's not really a money instrument, right? But it's more of a like an accompaniment instrument. But what an interesting kind of, and that's what I love about just taking these musical journeys, because Kenny Burrell, like I didn't know who he was 18 months ago, and I definitely didn't know who Candido was, but now Candido is on my radar of like if I'm out and can find a Candido record for like $10, like definitely worth a flyer, because he is, I mean, special talent. I mean, definitely one of one.
Yeah, I have to check him out. I think I've heard the name, but it just gave it a different dynamic to it, with the Congo going in there. It was Blues Walk is the name of the album. It came out on, I can't remember if it was a Tone Poet last year, but it was on Blue Note.
Okay.
And yeah, when I start hearing that, I'm like, man, this is great, because I'm not real big into jazz guitarists. I don't know why. I'm not really big into that jazz guitar thing. I don't know why. I guess I associate it with elevator music sometimes, and I hate to say that. Yeah. But it's like just those chord progressions. I'm like, it just doesn't do anything for me.
Well, Rob, I know you got all those guitars, and I know they're not just wall hanging. So, like, jazz guitar player, not your radar? Jazz. No.
I have zero jazz. I have zero interest in getting into jazz.
Huh?
And here's the thing: do I need to broaden my musical horizon? Sure, but I grew up in a house where my dad played a lot of jazz, and I hated it then. And I got into a lot of stuff, but that was one I couldn't. It's a pill I couldn't swallow, and I still have no desire to do it today. Just nah.
No judgment. Hey, listen, no judgment. No judgment. Because if you would have told 2015 Chance in 2022 you're going to have two Calix's little spaces full of jazz, I'd be like, what? Like,
oh no,
were you abducted in New Orleans and held for hostage? Like, what happened? But I
respect it totally. It's not something that piques my interest.
Well, and I would never pretend to be some pro, like,
no,
listen to like when those guys come up on Rachel's stream and talk jazz, like I just sit and listen, because I might every once in a while be like, Lee Morgan, you know what I mean? But other than that, like I do try to learn a little bit through osmosis. Now, David, I've never really heard you talk jazz. Is jazz on your radar?
No, I have some jazz, but I listen to it because of the acoustics of it and the sound and how natural it is. Like, I listen to it more for, I guess, the audiophile piece of it. But to sit and go, I mean, it put me to sleep, actually, in most cases. But when I really want to listen, then I'll listen to some jazz.
So David, Candido is in my jazz price guide. See, that's what I'm saying. He's very obscure, but
yeah.
Sorry, boys. I'm just trying to figure this out. Thanks, David B. That's a good call out.
David's a good guy. He stayed up with me till about 2:00 in the morning the other day. He just started doing some videos.
He did, yeah.
Yep.
I don't know if you saw the one on the 45s. I mean, like, there was one. It was Elvis covered it, but the guy sounded like freaking Elvis. What is the name of that song? Oh, friend of my best friend's girl, I think. So he's pulling up these 45s. I'm streaming them, trying to check them out. But this one was really good. I forgot who the original guy was, but he sounded like freaking Elvis, this guy.
So, Rob, what's he mean here? I live in the town where Rob's guitars come from. Did you steal these off the back of a truck? What's going on here?
No. So, I've got, I think, 14 guitars in here. And I think about 6 of them I've built myself. And I use the term built loosely. I don't build the necks.
I knew a lot of girls like that, built loosely. Yeah, right. It's wild.
Yeah, fair enough.
If they were built loosely, enough. That was good for me.
Sorry, Rob.
So much less work. You're out of here. Where's he? He's got to go.
I will buy a neck or occasionally a body from. There's a great aftermarket builder in, I think it's pronounced Puyallup, Washington, called Warmoth Guitars, and they make better guitar necks and bodies than the production companies do. They're fantastic. So like that Jazz Master you see behind me, that's a Warmoth body and neck. I get them unfinished, and then I finish them and put my logo on it and lacquer them and do all that kind of stuff. But that's the builder that I use.
What is your logo? Have I ever seen this? How did I not know this about you? Come on, whip it out, big man. Come on.
Hey, come on now. That's what my wife said. Whip it out.
No sex.
Hey, Rachel's stream, no sex. I got no problem.
Oh, where am I?
You boot it off of YouTube for your first. Stream.
That's true. Yeah, one and done. Story of my life.
Your first and last streaming. Right?
That's right. Yeah.
So here's me.
Kind of looks like a fender logo.
So Penfold, because that's your last. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah, that's your name. Sorry.
Yep. That's all good. No secret.
Oh, that's cool.
Nice. Wow.
So it sort of looks Fender-esque.
Yeah.
Yeah. So how do you? So you're not obviously doing the woodwork and everything. So
I mean, I could.
Yeah.
I'm in the woodworking industry, so
okay.
I have the skills to do it, but I don't have a shop to do it in, nor do I have the tools to do it. So I'll just buy them. I'll buy them unfinished, and then I used to be a paint guy in the commercial woodworking industry. I was one of the coating suppliers, so I can pick up a spray gun and spray wood just as good as one of the finishers say.
You're good at spraying that wood. Look at you.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
You're walking in it, Rob. Come on, man. This ain't Glen Stream.
Louisville Slugger.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to be on this stream. Fucking guys.
It's after hours, buddy.
You guys are dirty.
Remind me, Rob. So you're in sales. You're comfortable? What sales? What do you sell? I don't think I've ever asked you that.
So I used to be, like I said, a paint supply. I used to work for one of the paint suppliers for like 20 years, and now I work for a company that in the same industry that does functional hardware for commercial woodworking. So
okay,
hinges, drawer slides, any type of vertical lifts, that kind of thing.
Gotcha. Okay.
It's not as exciting as it sounds. Trust me.
But hey, it pays for those guitars back.
I was gonna say, it must be doing something.
But I'm paid well. So
I can relate. I hear you on that.
What is Malay?
John, remind me what's your if you don't mind me asking, are you in medical? I think you're in medical, right?
No, we've owned an assisted living facility for 20 years.
That's what I was thinking. Okay, yeah. Okay.
Small little 6-bed. It's looks like a house in the middle of a neighborhood. And so after my first child came along, we kind of just went full force into that, so I could kind of be stay-at-home dad and help my wife with the business, and it's been working out pretty well for us. So, yeah, that's my exciting life. There are some fun conversations, though, especially when they start talking to people that aren't there.
Wow!
Just like being on Rachel's stream. Yeah,
I was gonna say, yeah, you should be used to it, right?
Yeah.
Are her ears burning?
Oh no! I would hope she's probably asleep by now, because she's gonna be up.
I don't know. I'm waiting for a Mazzy or Rachel.
It's 7. It's 7 on the West Coast. So.
Oh, that's fair. Yeah, that's fair. That may still be up. Yeah. So, how many records you end up cleaning tonight, John?
I got through about 5.
9, probably. Sorry. 9.
Yeah. There's 5 that needed to be cleaned. I just had like little. I got them, from the record store, and usually if they don't have anything on them, I don't clean them. But if I see scuffs or whatever, I just clean them off real quick. Sure. I don't go too crazy with it.
Sure. What do you guys clean your stuff with? I know I asked John earlier, but Rob, what do you use? Do you use a spin clean or?
I use that, and I've been farting around with the vinyl vac lately just because they sent me.
Oh, one. That's right, they sent you one. Yeah, big time. Yeah.
Ooh. It's not a Rolling Stones box, but what can I tell you?
There we go.
You got to start somewhere. You got to start with a vinyl vac. So they send it that
they heard about him working with wood all the time, so they sent him.
Yeah, right. So funny enough, the week after that, I had a company reach out to me wanting to send me a turntable.
I've had that too.
But hold on.
Yeah.
So I'm like, sure, why not? I'll take a turntable and review it. They took all my information. They went, "Oh, we see you're in Canada. Sorry, you're not eligible." I'm like, "Fuck."
Now, how many subs do you have?
Like 720 something, I think.
That's interesting. I mean, I'm saying it's I have 300 and something, but for them to send a record player to you at that point, right? You would think
that's what I said.
Be up in the big,
And usually in the previous, I noticed like in the thousands, even the low thousands to mids, I've noticed they would send out. It seems like every year it's a different company, and it's usually one of these overseas speakers with it kind of deals, and to each their own. Like, people review it. I would never take a big dump on it, but I always find it interesting.
Just I would have done it for the sake of doing it because, there's people that watch us yak about records that can't afford big systems.
Yeah,
and
100%. Yeah.
Right. So,
I mean,
I'm by no means an audiophile, so I wouldn't play my records on them, but.
Well, and I know from your Vinyl Vac video, Rob, that you did a really nice job of demoing, because you even made that little homemade kind of setup, didn't you? And I thought that was really clever, and it was a good way to demo the product, but also make it useful, right? And so.
But saying this thing sucks was a little conflicting for me.
That's all I would have done. It would have been my shortest video ever. Like Vinyl Vac, it sucks.
It sucks.
Scene cut.
Pick up your own mind.
All right, Malaya. Yeah, so kind of talking through that now, and we were talking back at John's place because John, do you still have that contraption, your Amish contraption that you were using before?
My poor man's version of the cleaning system. So
John was churning butter and cleaning records with this machine at the same time. No, I'm kidding, but it's very similar from the way you described it to like a spin clean. Similar kind of properties, right?
Yeah, you pop it in there.
It has more of a brush thing than a pad. I think it has more of a brush than a pad.
It's got a brush down in there.
Yeah.
Brandon. Yeah.
So I just manually spin my record around there, pull it off really fast, and put it on one of these bad boys.
Yeah.
That's my cleaning system. It's good for the surface stuff, I think.
Sure.
I don't know if it gets real far in there or not. I think the brush is supposed to do that, but I really haven't had any problem children yet.
That's good. David, what do you use? I know you said you were into that Vinyl Sonic.
I'm waiting on my Vinyl. I thought I was going to get it for Christmas, but it didn't happen. Yeah, I use a spin clean right now, but yeah, I'm waiting on that Vinyl Sonic. So
yeah, that was kind of a drag because what's that saying? If it's too good to be true. So it was like it was $150 for an ultrasonic cleaner because the Humming Guru is like $400,
right?
The Gritter is like $3,000, and then whatever that thing the thing from Star Trek Enterprise that Michael 45 uses is like $8,000, right? So those are your for comparison. Say spin cleans $60. But yeah, it seemed like it looked like a Humming Guru, clearly. Yeah, clearly coming from China, probably plastic, cheap parts, so you could understand the $150 price point. But here we are, that it was originally, I think it started in October, and they said they were going to try to ship by the end of December. They asked for
your address in October.
Right, so you think it's trains on the tracks, and you really think it's going to happen.
I've been getting more junk mail since I did that than I can tell. And anyway,
no, it's funny you said that because there may be I'm laughing, but it's true. There may be a correlation because I've been getting more spam in that email address from parts unknown. Maybe there's a correlation, but anyway, point being is they said they got our addresses in October, aiming to ship at the end of December. Cool. And then silence. And then I just checked, I think it was like a week ago, and the Kickstarter Mafia was already on there saying pitchforks, demanding answers, and they kept posting this repeat message of
legal thing.
They must have found it.
To do it.
They found it on a message board somewhere, and it was all like standard, like I invoke my Kickstarter rights to give you my money, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna ride this out because maybe. But you said there was an update, so they have sent an update in the last week.
Yeah, they did. Yeah, and I can't remember what it said, but it said we realized we've had some delays in receiving parts, and so. Kirmus, yeah.
I'm not familiar. It's a pain in the ass, huh? Like, what's bad about it? Is that I'm assuming it's an ultrasonic. If it's that, if it costs that much.
Steps involved, I think, with it.
Oh, got it.
I don't know if it dries as well.
Makes sense. And then Rob, outside of Vinyl Vac, have you ever had any interest in like an ultrasonic?
Oh, absolutely.
So what's the big difference? Sorry, Rob, but
it's a matter of I don't want to spend thousands, so it's a matter of finding one and finding the cash to drop on.
Yeah,
it sounds like, for all intents and purposes, at least in the last year, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, the Humming Guru seemed to be the choice du jour from folks looking to kind of step up from spin clean, but not up to let's say the Gritter and beyond, right? And from all I could tell, it looks serviceable and it's, it does a nice job. The only reason, one of the reasons I chose a degritter was I was trying to beat the price. They get me on this anytime, like, oh, we're taking our price up. And I'd already kind of considered it. But then when they sent me that, and I'm like, well, you should get off the pot. And, income tax time, it just kind of worked out that way.
You buy it from Music Direct? Or?
I did, yes. Yeah, and Music Direct's the one who sent me the targeted mailing saying, price is going up. You may want to get it. They didn't say what it was going up to, but I'm like, oh no, like you better jump on it. But I'm glad I did.
Yeah. They had a 12-month financing thing too that you could use with zero interest at the time.
Yeah. But they the thing I like about it, and they advertise it as the highest ultra, sonic frequencies, blah, blah, blah. But the real reason I purchase it is because literally it's a plug and go. I put the record in, setting, go. I can, do stuff in the hall, do stuff in my record room, and then kind of go about my day. Whereas, Humming Guru, I don't know if does it dry? I think it dries.
I think it does, yeah.
Yeah. So it was
more or less.
Yeah, more or less, right?
Yeah.
I've seen ultrasonics that just do the cleaning and then people have to use a dish tray to set out the records and stuff. So I was trying to avoid that because, again, you're investing in it to an extent. But degritter's been fine. I don't think it's the perfect thing, but I'm also not inclined to reach beyond that and do the M45 thing. I think that's the
sweet. If you can pay that, I think that's your best value for the money.
I'm hoping so. And so far, so good. They've been very easy to work with. I had a little. Probably really wasn't even a crack in my little external tank. And I just wrote them a thing and be like, hey, is this something I should be worried about? And they, FedExed me a new one, no questions asked. It was, pretty good. But so is it
all water based? Are all these using some form of water?
Go ahead, David.
Distilled, right? Is it distilled water?
Yeah, it's always distilled water.
Yeah, that's what
they give you like any of the Spin Clean's got their own proprietary little thing. DeGritter sent me one too, but everything I read online was like, you can use that, but then you've got to clean the tank regularly. So quite honestly, since I've had it, I've only used distilled and it's been really good. I can't complain. The results have been, it's not a miracle worker. Like I set expectations realistic, but it's made some real pronounced differences in some of the vinyl I have, even stuff that it's got some, looks like it's got marks on it and stuff you just can't see.
Yeah.
Give it a cycle, or even if I'm ambitious, I'll put it in there again, and then it's golden. So,
what's the music in the house? I see he's got a note about their Mark II version. Is that like a less expensive version?
No, so this is the New Year model because I think I must have the Mark I because
we said Mazzy 3 times. Look what happened. Mazzy, you're watching Contra Boogies.
Oh my gosh! Oh, look,
live stream.
Are you lost, Dizzy? Are you lost? Because this is the island of wayward toys. What are you doing here?
There he is.
Oh, and we've got our correspondent from Japan is here. What is happening?
Hi, Melinda.
This is blowing up.
Doing, Melinda? Glad to have you.
Melinda Oh my gosh! What is
holy moly!
You guys must be lost. We're just first year YouTubers. What are you
ears
guys
were burning
doing
there?
Oh my gosh!
We're a bunch of rookies, and all the pros are watching us. This is
nice.
Oh my gosh!
How's this for a first live stream? Come on.
Yeah, well, it's going to be the first and last after what I said earlier. So just enjoy it while it lasts, fellas. Because,
Right.
I think that was this guy over here. He was saying some stuff. There, I can't get my finger right.
Which finger are you using? No.
I'm not the waxed man. I don't use that one.
Okay, gotcha.
Oh my gosh, that is amazing. Oh,
I got to tell Melinda though, thanks for the St. Augustine tip for Tone Vendor.
Oh, did you end up going to that place?
Yeah.
And it was a shop or was it a record fair?
No, it was a record store. It was a record shop.
Okay, interesting. Yeah, because I know she did a video, and it may have been the same one when she was talking about that trip, but she went to a record fair there outside, which I thought was really ambitious. Especially, you've got, I think it was summertime. Melinda, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it was summertime, and it was outside. And I know from going to record fairs and shows, like, personal hygiene is optional, right? And that's inside. And I'm talking about your elbow to elbow, shoulder to shoulder. And boy, some of these people they're really trying to go medieval on you. So I can only imagine, God bless her, being out in the Florida heat, the swamp somewhere, and these people are really putting that degree challenge to the test.
No, it's not swampy over there, but
Okay,
at least you're outside, so the fumes can,
aerate. Well, you got to really like records to get shoulder to shoulder with that crew. But yeah, that's right. Yeah, that's right. Wow.
Yeah, you have there's a big homeless population there too. So.
Oh, interesting. It was honestly the first time I'd ever heard of, and you guys correct me if I'm wrong, is the only record fair I'd ever heard outside. I've only been the ones inside, just because you're dealing with things that I don't know. Shocker alert. Could melt if they're exposed to prolonged sunlight. So, I mean, crazy stuff.
It was a cool story. It just made me crazy how many times I had walked past it, because we go to St. Augustine every year to go see the lights, and it was literally across from the Flagler College, and I've had my back to it I don't know how many times. So she points it out. I look it on the map. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me. So, but it was a good store.
Nice. What'd you cop there? Do you remember? Did you find any good stuff?
Yeah, I ended up with a Art Blakey and Stone Roses. Those were the two I picked up.
Stone Roses. That's Linda Ronstadt, right?
No, that's Stone Ponies.
Damn it. I'm sorry. I'm so young. Don't beat me up.
Stone Roses, early 90s British band. They had a couple albums.
They were a big sort of influence on Oasis in the early days.
Yeah.
Okay. All right.
Well, Gallagher's got some reverence for them.
Hey, that's exciting. Now, John, speaking of record fairs in Florida, I think I've talked to you like offline about this, but is there any? Oh, here he is.
Let him on.
There
he is.
I've been backstage for 20 minutes. What a bunch of amateurs.
Hey, listen. My gosh.
You should have seen us trying to get on here.
Listen, it's Shit Show Deluxe. Sorry, man.
What is the show called? I can't even see a title for this friggin' show.
Oh my gosh.
Impromptu Maiden Voyage.
Yeah.
My Yelp review is going down by the minute. I'm sorry. This is
keeping
bad
up
news.
with the vinyl.
This is like ESPN Channel 78.
This is the Ocho. We're going to start having badminton at the top of the hour, so just stay tuned. Coming in.
Yeah. I was conflicted yesterday. The Niners beat the Seahawks, and I didn't know who to. I don't give a shit about either.
Sports.
They squeaked it by.
Oh my gosh. Well, Mazzy,
but the Niners left San Francisco years ago, so it doesn't matter anymore.
You're actually right on time. We were just talking about cleaning records, and you, if I'm not mistaken, have taken the plunge. You and the archivist.
In fact, we're supposedly scheduled tomorrow on MLK Day to set it up and do a video and do our first thing. So
wow,
wow. We'll see if it happens.
Is it out of the box at least? Have you taken it out?
It's out of the box.
Okay, so
actually, when I was at on Friday, I went to Harry's.
Yes,
Harry Houdini, Harry's Music, and he has a humming guru, and I just let him. He basically showed me how it works. I mean, it's so basic, it's so easy, but we'll see.
And why did it take? I not to say take so long, but. You just fought the urge to, because you don't even
like 50. You mean like the 58 years? I've been.
Well, I was gonna say, yeah, like you're like a legacy, like like no thank you. I'm not gonna clean them.
I look at. I'm set in my ways, but the funny thing is, and I've said this before. I mean, I appreciate all you guys that clean records, and there's a lot of more dirty records now than when I was buying records back in the thing, and most of my records, I'd say 75-80% of them I bought new at either then or all over the years. So they're not like that filthy dirty like you go through in musty. Now I know people today clean new records, but to me, I didn't know anyone probably before 15 years ago that ever had a cleaning machine. They might have had that, the yellow one, the cheapo one, and done that. But I don't know anyone to collect people in the record business. Nobody in the record business used to clean records. It's all these audiophile creeps,
But what do you think changed them, Mazzy? Because I would say from when you worked in the store in the 70s and you worked in the industry at the end of the 70s, 80s, like clearly materials have changed. Clearly production has changed because more split seams, more dirty records I mean, what's happening here?
I'm an old guy, so we just buy the record. I mean, that whole thing, this music stupid stuff is really based on reality for me. Mm-hmm. I buy the records. I have a nice collection. In fact, up until maybe a decade ago, except for my Beatle collection and maybe some Bob Dylan, a few other artists. I never bought multiple copies of records. And I'm kind of stopping that anyway with all, whether it's MoFi or UHQR or Craft or whatever. Sure. If I enjoy the record, the marginal difference I'm going to get, you know, and especially if you don't AB records, you know. So I'm kind of getting off that train that I dip my toes in. But that's just for me. It's, you know, everyone has to do their own path, you know. So, and I mentioned I did this thing today. I know you guys are in another conversation, but I just picked up, this guy reached out to me about 2 months ago, who has this like 10,000 plus record collection. He's like 10 years older than me, and he hasn't bought a record since 1995. He hasn't played a record in 20 years. Oh, right. And he just gave me 5 boxes of OJC original jazz classics.
Yeah, I saw your Instagram post. That's
most impressive. Of them are sealed. Half of them are not, but they're all in shrink. Almost every single one, probably 250 records, maybe a little more. And I'm going to start selling them for him. So I'm going to piss off Rob Walker and start doing sales again on my channel.
Hey.
Rob Walker.
If Rob ain't offended, you ain't doing it right. That's how it works.
I know. He's funny.
So anyway.
Is he giving you like first dibs of it? Is that kind of how you're working out there? I mean, you don't need specifics, but just
I'll tell you, I mean, the basic thing is, we'll see how this goes. This is like a test. He reached out to me and I said, look, I'm not a flipper. He saw what I did with Coleman. He likes watching my channel. Yep. He goes, that's what I like about you. Because I'm not a flipper. I said, look, I can give you a name of people who buy, you know, record stores and people like Harry and Kimbo up here, Kimbowitz, that buy records and flip them. And he goes, no, I want to talk to you. So let's talk. He goes, I don't even know what I want. I'm not in a rush to sell stuff. I said, look, I'm not positioned to buy a collection. That's not what I do. Sure. You know, Coleman was a friend of mine. So that was a unique situation. And so we talked. I looked through some like collection. Like today, I looked through, I said, first you have to separate your records by genre, because when I saw him 2 months ago, they weren't. But now at least he has jazz and country and everything else together. But he had this, like a box and a half of Rolling Stones records. And he had like literally 20 copies of Some Girls with the Lucille Ball, the original cover. Yeah. Yep. I don't know what that goes for. Is it $40? Is it $60? But it's, you know, but still, I mean, 20 copies of that one record. He had 3 copies each of the Beatles 95 anthology 3 LPs.
Sure, 3 LPs.
Sealed, all sealed.
And he didn't have a shop or anything. There wasn't anything as easily explainable.
I said, "Why?" I said, and a couple of things I asked him. I said, "So I got to ask you, are you emotionally attached to these? Because if I'm going to do something, maybe I could sell them. So I'm going to split 50-50 with him, you know. And I'm just going to bring the stuff, and then if whatever I sell, I give him money, and then I mean, we'll see how this goes. And maybe I'll do the jazz one now. Maybe I'll do a Beatles and Stones one." Maybe once a month or twice a month. I don't know yet. We'll see how this goes. I mean, we'll see if the relationship works. He goes, I don't need the money. I want to get the money, but I don't need the money. I got to start getting rid of this stuff. Mm-hmm. You know,
was
there anything? Have some guy come in and buy the whole thing. I mean, there's some shit ass records there too, definitely. You know,
was there anything? So obviously you have a very robust collection. Was there anything that you saw in what he brought? I'm assuming he brought it to you. You didn't have to go like schlep.
No. I went to his like, he's a half hour from my house. You know, I went to him because it's all in his garage and boxes. He also, one thing that's really interesting to me, which I want to see if I can get into, because I'm winding my business down, but he has 91 framed Avalon and Fillmore West posters.
91.
And they're beautiful. You know, it's the Fillmore posters. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
And some of those go for hundreds of dollars. Some go for thousands of dollars. It depends if it's first. And they're all newly framed and wrapped in paper still.
Holy shit.
I said, what the fuck did you do this? He goes, I felt like doing it. Like, are you like, heads explode.
I wish I had contacts like this. Gee whiz.
Well, he reached out to me.
That's what I mean. I mean, that's a
yeah. But the OJC situation. Stuff, there's some really good stuff. And I looked online and stuff. OJCs go for $20 to $50. You know, most of them.
Sure,
and like there's a Chet Baker stuff. There's all the Miles stuff. There's the Coltrane ones. You know, it's the Prestige and Riverside and all that stuff. So,
but going back, was there anything that you saw record wise that you're like, oh wow?
Well, I haven't looked through everything. There's too many boxes for me to look at. But I did pull one. It's funny. There was a couple of jazz records in there, And there's this Donald Byrd album that I showed on Instagram today. I looked it up just for the hell of it because that was in the wrong box because this was supposed to be all OJC. There are about 10 records that weren't OJCs. And that Donald Byrd, it looks like it's either an original or a really close to original. And on Discogs, it's like a $300 to $500 record.
Damn.
So we'll see. We'll see.
So what's the preliminary plan? Not to spill your tea.
Well,
here, but
I decided in 2 weeks from, was today Saturday? No, yesterday. In 2 weeks on Saturday, I'm going to do like around probably 11 or noon, like an auction. I don't know if I'm going to do it like the Coleman. I did an auction. I put bundles together. So I got to see. I got to think about it. I might have Coffee Dave help me. Rob might help me if I do I've never done the auction thing with the countdown clock. So I'll do that, and whatever I get, he gets half. I get half.
It's a hell of an arrangement.
Cool.
And if it works, I'll try like a rock and roll one, and we'll see.
Sure. See, Rob, this is why you need to get in jazz because Mazzy's going to have killer stuff coming up.
This Rob.
This Rob. Yeah. See, you're conditioned to the other Rob. Yes.
I don't know if Rob's watching here, but unlike Rob, I don't wait for people to die to get their collection.
You're proactive, not reactive. I can appreciate that. Yeah. No, we were just talking, and maybe you saw this, Mazzy, but Rob is holding out on us on the jazz thing, and I was explaining that 7 years ago, if you would have told me I'd have two shelves full of jazz, I wouldn't have believed it. But it's everyone's on their own thing, and I think once you just kind of dip your toe in that bathwater and start learning about some of the artists,
it's not for everybody.
Well, and that's my whole point. I'm not purposely holding out. It just at this point in time, it's not something that has any appeal to me.
You may get into it, you may not, and that's okay.
And as I said to Chance earlier on, I heard a lot of it when I was a kid. My dad was a record collector and had a lot of jazz, and it didn't interest me then, and it doesn't interest me now. Maybe someday when I get a little older, I don't know.
That's all.
Maybe
matters,
next week.
But it's surprising though. It really isn't surprising. The last 5-8 years, all these people have gotten into jazz, which is great.
Sure.
I mean, it's like these tone poets are selling more copies now than they did when they came out.
Yeah, I think part of that, my opinion, this is just my opinion, I think it's definitely on trend, right? But I also think that there's a certain subset of collectors who are looking for the next trend. And I said this months ago, I think country is probably the next genre that's going to be elevated, right, wrong, or indifferent. But I'm just talking about somebody who likes hunting for records and particularly used records. Yeah. I think that's the last, I would say last, but I think that's the next bastion for folks like me.
I'm a huge country and folk fan, but I don't like the what do you call it? The real pop country, like the
bro country, the new stuff, right?
Even like Brian, what's his name?
Luke Bryan, yeah.
We did a photo shoot with him. That's why I remember we got called to do a photo shoot with him, and I had no idea who he was. This is like 15 years ago.
Oh my! He probably wasn't used to that.
Well, I wasn't at the shoot. But I had a guy. They said, "Oh, we want you to do the shoot, but it has to be at this venue in Florida or somewhere. You have to go, and you're going to only have my photographer only have like 30 minutes with him, but it's for a campaign, his sponsor." Mm-hmm. But I didn't know who he was at first, and of course, I had to look it up and stuff. So, hey, I like Willie and Waylon and obviously Merle Haggard and I mean that 60s stuff, and I like I love Dolly Parton, I love Tammy Wynette, and I like George Gary Jones, Stewart, I like honky tonk stuff, and going back to Porter Wagner, all that stuff I love.
Well, David, in Texas, country's king, right? And every time I go to the Austin show, that's when I try to load up on country because it's available. It's more readily available, and it's cheap, right?
Except Waylon records are hard to get now, and they're expensive.
They're tightening up on Waylon for sure. Yeah. Was there a decent country scene in San Francisco, like when you were coming up, Maz, or no?
Not a scene, but when I was hired, the guy that hired me when I was 19, he asked me when he was interviewing me for the job, and I said country rock, and he said that got me the job because I was into the Byrds and Graham Parsons and that. And Burrito Brothers. So, and I learned from him all this roots music and went to see Merle Haggard when he played the Circle Star Theater and all that stuff. So I learned a lot. I'm a big folk music person too, and roots and Smithsonian folkways, that kind of stuff.
John, country music. I know you're in Florida. You're right there at literally. There's a band called Florida Georgia Line who are music back decades, but I'm
more like what Mazzy was saying, the Willie stuff, the Johnny Cash American, loved it.
Yeah.
Somebody commented on Sturgill.
Sturgill Simpson is
Sure.
great.
Isn't that? I mean, that was amazing to me. It starts off. It doesn't sound country. He's got a really crazy country voice, but then the horns come in, then the orchestration comes in, then he goes into almost a 50s beat on just one song. So
Yeah.
love that. And Chris Stapleton.
I was gonna say Stapleton's like
Yep.
badass. Like I saw him at a festival and it kind of stuck out. I'm like, why is a country artist at a festival with Outkast, Billy Idol? Is a very interesting choice. But I'm
Yeah.
gonna tell you something. This guy can sing it. He can
Yeah.
perform. Like he is the real deal. And I know kidding about Luke Bryan before. I won't say anything bad about Luke Bryan. And I'll tell you why. A friend of mine, Female Variety, invited me with some of her girlfriends to go to Luke Bryan's show. And I'm like, sure, I'll hang out with some cute girls, whatever. And I'm telling you, the lady to dude ratio was about 10-1. And
Sure.
and it was unreal. So I tip my hat off to him because the music doesn't really get me, but he clearly elicits a response from like back in the 80s and 90s, like that rock. Like I feel like the appealing to the female persuasion musically, sometimes gets lost. And I think the country market really hit that on the pulse.
Yeah.
They go to country.
Marty Robbins. I love cowboy music too, but someone mentioned the Louvin Brothers. Jason, that Louvin Brothers record you're talking about was issued about 15 or plus years ago on Light in the Attic, and it's a great version.
Lita, yeah.
But it's out of print, so you got to kind of buy the second. They did a couple Louvin Brothers records, and they're fantastic.
Do you have an original of that Satan is Real?
I don't have the original Capitol. I have the Light in the Attic's great, and they also did a Light in the Attic one of all these different artists picking their favorite Louvin Brothers songs. So it's the original versions, but like it's one Dwight Yoakam picked one, and all these different sort of country. Emmylou Harris picked another one.
Did they perform the songs too?
Yeah, it's the original songs. It's not covers, but it just says that they picked these 15 songs, whatever.
So Brandon's right. Jason Isbell is another one who really is not that bro country, but really just a good singer songwriter, really earnest performer, and really like.
I was never into him and the band. The Drive-By Truckers.
Yes.
And John Digital Gramophone sent me that a few years ago, that black and white Jason Isbell cover.
Yeah. Brandon, help me.
I didn't get into it right away, but now all of a sudden I'm getting into. It's weird. I'm getting a little into what's his wife's name?
Amanda Shires.
Amanda Shires,
Oh,
and even the woman from up here, the folky country, is Carlisle.
Brandon Carlisle?
Randy Carlisle.
Brandon Carlisle, yeah, sorry.
I heard a few things because someone gave me a copy of The Highwoman.
Oh, I love The Highwayman. That's great.
And I love the record.
Yeah. It's
Yeah,
got an
that's
old
it.
country feel, though. It's not overproduced. It's not a pop song.
Right.
No?
Yeah, exactly.
It's singer-songwriter almost.
Yeah. So I kind of like that. So I'm kind of getting into that a little bit. So.
Yeah.
Interesting. Real cool. Yeah, Southeastern. Yeah, that's the album. Yeah, that's a real good. Oh,
Yep, there we go.
good. We can't have a VC conversation without showing records. Thanks, Rob. You
See?
helped us out.
I just had to meet the quota,
We were waiting on you.
Light in the Attic is still in Seattle, and they actually have a pop-up store, which is a semi-permanent store in the KEXP Common Space by the Space Needle in Seattle Center there.
Interesting. Yeah, Lita, they put out, what is it, Rob, like this, Sixto Rodriguez, they reissued Cold Fact and stuff like that. 2008, I think it was. Did a really nice job with it. That was my entry point into his catalog, was that release.
Well, there's a guy on Rachel Street, I don't know if you've noticed in the Peanut Gallery, there's a guy named Brian McPherson occasionly. I don't know, you see his name.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
it turns out he's a entertainment attorney, and his client is Light in the Attic. He does all their deals. And he turned me on, and I had a conversation with the head of Light of the Attic, the guy that started it. And the guy sent me like a huge box of tapes, like the Karen Dalton album, the Cisco, the Cisco's. He sent one of those. I already had the other ones, but the what's the guy from the guitar player from I want to say the Meters.
Oh, the Meters.
They found this tape that was supposedly lost at Katrina that was in like Alan Toussaint's studio, and they found this tape, and it was like a folk record that he did before he started the guitar player for the Meters. I'm blanking on his name. Somebody's gonna mention it.
Yeah, Jason Rojas. I'm calling on you, big guy. Well, Lucinda Williams, because she hasn't
love
really
her.
grabbed me, but I know she did that was it an homage to Full Moon Fever? I know the cover she did recently was like, it was almost verbatim, same kind of art style. Was that?
Well,
was
during
that what you were going
lockdown,
for?
she did over a period. She did like 5 records. One is Stones records. It has like a Beggar's Banquet cover. One's Tom Petty stuff. One's not the Neville Brothers.
Brian
The Meters.
Stoltz?
Yeah, the Meters.
Is it Brian?
I love Lucinda Williams. Cartwheel on a Dirt Road is the one you should get. You
Interesting.
might like that.
Do a lot of these artists we're talking about, Mazzy, they make it out Pacific Northwest? I'm assuming they tour
Yeah.
out there, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Seattle's a big music town. Everybody comes here. You know.
Yeah, we're talking about coming up for spring break. My son's big into music right now, and he's big into like the '90s grunge scene. And I know they have that grunge museum up there, so I've kind of indirectly. He's probably on the stream still.
Are you going to come up here?
Yeah, oh, yeah. I think.
Well, you know, $100 a pop. You're welcome to come in and do a whack-a-mole with me. But
son of a gun!
It's only $50 for minors, but $1 per adult.
Can you believe this? This guy comes up on the stream and extorts me. I'm trying to take a family trip.
I would love you to come by and do a whack-a-mole.
If invitation's open, I'm there.
Jason has the answer down there.
Oh, here it is. Yep.
There it is. Yeah, Leo Noscatelli.
I would have lost Final Jeopardy on that one. Good
Thank you,
job, Jason. That would have been a big Alex Trebek smack me in the face.
That would be funny. He'd dead.
Well, I know some people, David. I know some people.
Apparently you do.
The Lucky 13 got it first. Okay.
Oh my gosh. Yep. Look at this, man. Crazy stuff. Yeah, Whack-A-Mole membership, $100. This is your listen, big channel. This is the next horizon for it. I was just talking about
Mazzy
our
45
friend in Germany. Mazzy 45.
I'm not sure. I will never do a membership fee. That's not my thing. But I will sell records from collections.
I think that's fair.
That's
fine. But I do have a theory, and this is what I said on John's place, because we were chatting over at John's place, and it's like, hey, let's just talk together. And here I did this really bad live stream work, but I have a theory, and I've noticed it. And I don't think this isn't exclusive to Michael 45, but I think when the channels get so large, I've noticed they start kind of honing in on their own community for right, wrong, or different. This isn't judgment. Like Too Many Records is a perfect example. This was the first time I saw this because I was following him early on from when he had 8,000 subs to he would go on the Reddit boards and cry about how do I get more subs to he's at 40,000 subs. Oh yeah.
It'll happen organically. That's the way it happens.
But he was kind of pushing, and I don't want to like beat him up on this one. But point being is he started his own Facebook group, Too Many Records group, and he started doing his own stuff. And I see similar tendencies. Or the plan is very similar to what Michael's doing. And more power to him. He wants to build his own community. More power to him. But
if I get there, slap me silly, okay? I'll start doing shit like
well, I don't think you will, but I'm just saying there's
not.
precedent for this, right? And I will say, not to humor you here, but you do engage with the masses, and I think that's what endears you to a lot of the folks in the vinyl community.
You mean the little people?
Well,
the little people.
That's an easy way of saying the little people.
Okay, wow. I'm just riffing on you. I got to get now since I'm with you guys. You guys keep talking. I got to get a drink. I have to drink now.
No worries. Oh my gosh. Let's see what's going on. Mazzy Bucks. He's got his own currency. I mean, this guy. Come on.
Yeah. It's funny because, like I said, I'm coming up on my first year here, and Mazzy is one of the first people I watched. So this is like surreal for me.
He was the first person I ever watched.
Yeah, right.
Listen, come on, guys. He didn't come up here to get the verbal. Come on now, guys.
That's why they're doing it while he's gone.
They're being nice about it. What's his back
He'll
turned
take
on?
the BJ. It's no problem.
But listen, in all seriousness, I know he's gone. I'd say it to us, and I think I've said it to him when I first started coming on Rachel's stream. He was one of those first channels. Brandon, who's here with us, Mr. Hall of Fame, who I've been fortunate enough to befriend because he's local. But there were only a select group. Melinda Murphy was one of them too, that were doing this. Let's call it 5 years ago. I know some people have been doing it longer, but these are, I wouldn't say the pioneers, but these are the folks that I really gravitated to. So then when I started doing these videos this year, I learned so much that there were different pockets of the vinyl community. Like I was watching Fred Putterman when he was using his government name. You know what I mean? So I've seen the evolution of channels.
When he's using his real name? Is that what you said?
Yeah, his government. Yeah. I didn't want to out him because I know there had to be a reason. Maybe you know it. Why he?
Well, I think he just wanted to do it. Part of it is he's a teacher and one of his students. Things like that. It's not any big deal, but.
Yeah.
You know,
But Matthew, you're perfect because we were just about to just give you the flowers. We're giving you a verbal bouquet here because you're kind of outnumbered by us noobs here. We're all David. This is still your first year, right?
Yes, yeah, March
Okay.
is starting.
So we're all newbies at this, but we're kind of talking about it before over at John's place that there are certain channels that we always gravitated towards. Yours being one of them, Melinda, Brandon, etc.
Yep.
And we really noticed. Obviously, we've gotten into it in the last year, but it feels like, and maybe you've noticed it too, there's been an explosion. There's been just a glut of folks trying this out in the last, call it 3 years. Do you think it's because of COVID and people and really wanting to try it themselves? Or what do you think?
I'm coming on in a couple months. It'll be 5 years for me, but I did one video or two videos, and then I didn't do any for another year. For some reason, I was busy work and I was traveling a lot for work, and it started building up. But really, during COVID, the last 3 years, 2020, everyone was. I mean, we were all like at home pretty much,
right.
And it grew, and it was great about it. My friend Amanda, she's the archivist, and I've known her for 18 years, and she went to Texas to Austin, the University of Texas,
UT,
and
yeah.
she went back to school after all these years and got her degree in archival science. I don't know what it is, but emphasize on audio and different kinds of things. And she worked for a year and a half in Tulsa on a project at the Bob Dylan archive before the new archive opened, the museum. And she worked on that project, and all the stuff was stored in Austin. And that project ended, and she was going back to Austin. Her stuff was in storage, and she was looking for a job, and she was going to move whatever city. And I've known her forever, and once a year she'll come to visit. I have a big house, so she came to visit for a month while she was looking for a job. And literally, the pandemic hit.
Yep.
And so she basically moved in. I mean, I got 4 bedrooms here and stuff, and it's a big house. And then 3 months into it, she gets a job with Universal Music. So she has an office here. She works full time. Now every weekend, like now she's at her boyfriend's house, which is 10 minutes away and stuff. But so it got to be a perfect thing. And so she'd be working up here. I'd be working downstairs and do my video stuff. And it was perfect. Then we'd meet back up at dinner time or whatever. And what's great about it, because she's a big music freak too. And I don't know I don't know any other woman that knows much about music. I mean, she's really into roots and Smithsonian folkways and jazz, and she's in her 40s, so it's a nice kind of trade-off of music. We turn on, and she turns me on to people that I've never heard about, because I missed it in the 90s, like groups like went to see Karate. Karate? Have you heard of Karate?
Haven't, no.
Heard of them.
All these, she turned me on to Bill Callahan, Smog.
Okay.
I love Bill Callahan, and there's that kind of thing, and there's a group of Jawbreaker I didn't know, except I heard Jawbreaker because they used to play in San Francisco, but I didn't know what they were. More of kind of a rock and roll, sort of punkish and not really metal. I don't know how to describe their music.
So was there? I don't want to put words in your mouth, Mazzy, but in that you just kind of hit on in the 90s, were you not really like into new music?
I was, but my son was born in 1990.
Okay.
So, all of a sudden I used to go out to see music all the time, and you're raising a kid, especially the first 5 years. I was still buying a lot of CDs. I went through a 20-year period. I didn't buy any records, hardly. It was all CDs. And then in 95, I purged a third of my collection at the time, which was a big mistake, but a lot of people our age, I don't know, David probably, did you get rid of a lot of records at all or no?
Never.
You're smart.
None.
Yeah.
You didn't get rid of anything, David?
Nothing. Zero.
Now, how did you get that through Congress? I mean, your wife, because usually that's the guiding light of get this shit out of here, right?
Yeah. She gave me it's either me or the records, and I said, where are you going to be?
Like to write you every once in a while.
Yeah, right.
So that's what you're calling the Holiday Inn years. Is that fair to say, David?
Exactly.
The Hojo Howard Johnson, or those down there? I don't know.
And she really enjoyed the Howard Johnson. I heard a bunch of other guys, but anyway.
Well, Mazzy missed David's whack-a-mole. He pulled a nice one out. He pulled that sticks.
Checks in the mail too. We don't want to get any copyright or trademark, Mazzy. So he's got you going.
It was a half.
I ripped it off. I ripped the name off. I just applied it to something.
It's fun, yeah.
But David, yeah. So what was that record? Why don't you?
Oh, is that a Nautilus?
It's a Nautilus test pressing of Styx.
Oh.
Cornerstone.
Yeah, he was name dropping.
Dennis DeYoung sent me because I've known him since '74. They played at my high school, like a fundraiser we had. They were nobody back then, Styx. That was before Lady even came out.
I've never owned a Styx record my entire life.
No, yeah.
Or a
Come on.
Supertramp record.
Mr.
Really?
Roboto, come on, that's some hot
I
shit,
can't-
Mazzy.
Wait a minute.
I bought that when I first started getting into vinyl, and it didn't last very long in my house.
Hey, listen, I'm a child of the '80s, though. That kind of
Well-
robot shit goes a long way. It didn't matter the video was trash. It didn't matter the song is questionable. But I mean, robots, come on, man. That's like lowest common denominator when you're a kid.
Yeah.
I still have my Transformers.
Yo,
Well, I just have
talk
Paradise.
about having money. I mean, if you've got the good ones, Rob. I mean, forget records.
Dude, I've got an OG Optimus Prime.
I'm on the wrong stream. You guys are baller. You got the guitars. You got the OG toys. David knows the guy from Styx. John, help! It's just me and you, John. We're just the common men here.
Well, I have the signed Bruce Hornsby, so
Yeah.
Well, all right. I guess I
No.
got nothing. I don't.
sorry,
John
I got-
fights alligators, actually. So
I'll throw it out. I'm throwing it out tonight. It's gone.
I got some baseball cards that are
just
worth absolutely nothing.
PCLT, send it to him.
Yeah. Well, Mazzy, it's funny because I know you're anti vinyl storage solution, or you're anti storing your records. Well, here's what I'm going to say. I hear you, and I can appreciate where you're coming from. But somebody like me who grew up in the age of trading cards, comic books, we were conditioned to keep our collectibles or things in these bags, in these sleeves, all this stuff. So I'm not blaming that, but I know that for me, I feel better. Maybe it's a false security blanket, but I feel better if a record I really think is valuable.
Here's
is in
my
one of
take
those.
on that. I totally support people to take care of their records, and until I didn't stick Discogs in really until the pandemic. So 3 years ago, I've been doing Discogs, and until I moved here 8 years ago, that's when I first started putting my records as I got new in plastic sleeves. Except for a few records, I never had them in plastic sleeves. So I guess for me, my point is it depends on the person. I'm pristine. I take care of so I have this beautiful collection for 30, 40, 50 years.
Right.
And they're almost all in great shape, and without plastic sleeves, without all that. And I'm if you want to wrap your stuff and buy those solution things, all the power to you. I just kind of a lot of it is shtick, you know me now.
I know, of course. Yeah.
A lot of it is this thing like at some point people are babying their collection so friggin' much. It's like, come on, play the record, enjoy the record.
You don't play the jacket, you play the record.
So I do kind of mock, and maybe it's me being a little passive aggressive, which I'm guilty as charged on, but I try to do with a little smirk whenever I do that shit a little bit. Some people get it, some people don't. All the power.
I guess I missed where that conversation came up, and next thing I know, I was on a stream and saying vinyl storage solution is just not working, and I think he runs a good business. To me, he makes best in class.
I think he's the best at what he does.
Yeah.
And it's not a personal thing. I mean, what I do is, I get these sleeves. There's a company here that, and I this is all I want. This is all I want. And this is so California, isn't that? Right, look at that. Wow. I mentioned this. This is from the 70s. And we used to sell this record all the time. This is on Verve Records, actually. It was a popular guy named Tony Scott on the clarinet and the flute and stuff. This is a very 70s kumbaya shit, but it's a cool. I found a copy of it because I purged my copy and I found a cheap copy. Verve Records. But to me, this is fine. I don't put it in the back. I know people like putting it in the back to see it, and all the power to them. But it takes up more room. I just, everyone should do whatever they want, and don't listen to me or you or anybody else.
Well, listen to Rob, because Rob was shaking his head there, and you're not a back of the jacket guy?
I'm not a back of the jacket guy, only because I like the experience of the album cover, and I like to see what's on the back of the album cover.
Sure.
Bingo.
And if you just put the record there, you only see the tracks that are on one half of the record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's fair.
That's
David
a good
Bianco,
excuse.
David
Yeah,
Bianco,
I use that
are you
excuse.
getting rid of your
Blank
sleeves?
on the back, so I just because it was a test pressing, so that's why I did that.
Oh, here he goes with his test press.
Oh, sorry.
Oh my God! I mean,
Rub it in.
I might as well just jump out the window, guys. I mean, this is a
I know
flex,
the guy from
flexathon over
Styx.
here.
Wow.
Trevor, is being passive aggressive a Seattle thing? I'm still a newbie here. I've been here 8.5 years, so I don't feel like I'm a Seattleite, really.
John, what do you sleeve your records, or are you free balling like Maz was until recently?
No, I sleeve everything's sleeved, but I am getting away from doing this because look, you don't see it. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Now the only
Well, at least if I was to do that, I'd put that side out at least.
Yeah,
so you can,
this one's
you know.
backwards. I kind of started, but a lot of times when you do the new sleeve, whether it's MoFi or whatever, you can't get it into the album. So then you're left with going, where do I put the damn thing? But I want to see the back. That's the thing.
That's fair. And Mazzy, you hit it on the head. I think different strokes for different folks.
Exactly.
I will say though, as they're doing all these different color treatments, and they're doing some pretty radical stuff. I'll give them credit now. Does the record sound great? I don't, it's debatable sometimes, but what they're doing is really pretty special. And so I think in that case, putting it in the back to appreciate, especially if you want to show somebody, because the last thing you want to do is like, oh, you got to check out this color variant. You pull it out and you're trying to show somebody, and 5 minutes later you finally have the record out, right? So
the only time I did that was with my 7 different color variants of McCartney 3 that came out during the pandemic.
There he is.
I have those in the back.
Hey.
Thanks, Vance. Sorry,
Hey,
listen,
Vance.
man, I'm a Captain Kirk without the women right now. I'm trying to figure out how to fly this thing. So thanks for telling me how to do it.
How was Led Zeppelin 7?
Yeah. No, they're all right cover band, not the best though.
I love cover bands.
Vance, I thought about this. Concert buddy. I really need to. I think you need to take my moniker because you went to so many shows last year, and that's just what you put on your Instagram. I mean, you were out and about every night. I was like, man, my 20-year-old me would have really just enjoyed hanging with you.
Yeah, I mean, I go alone a lot too. It's just because I got tired of missing shows when nobody wanted to go. So
well, we talked about
a lot of my
this,
friends. Yeah,
we talked about this when we hung out in Chicago. Like that's the best thing sometimes is like you don't.
You
wait
went to
for
the House
somebody
of
to go with
Blues,
you.
right?
yeah. Last night's Friday and Saturday were at House of Blues, which they filled the place, which I was surprised because I'm gonna go see another.
I
band.
like that place. One time I would go to used to go to Chicago once a year for work, and one night I was walking back from eating. I think I went to I forgot that Santa Fe taco, the Mexican place.
No, there's a bunch of them here. Yeah.
That Mexican place in Chicago, Vance. Come on.
Yeah,
no, but it's the guy. It's the
One over
guy
here
who
in the
has
corner?
his own line of. Anyway, but I was walking by the House of Blues, and I see and Brian Wilson was playing. This is when he first toured doing Pet Sounds, so that was 20 years ago, whatever it was.
Yeah,
maybe more. And there was tickets left, so I just walked in and saw the whole show, and it was fucking amazing. It was great.
Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
Real cool. Vance, what do you think? What do you think's like the best venue? Because obviously, being in Chicago, is the Metro. Do you like the smaller venues, or is there one that's acoustic? Like, because I know, like
acoustically, it's the auditorium.
Where's that at?
That's
North side, south side?
no, it's right downtown. It's on Congress. It's in Roosevelt University's building now, but it's the auditorium. It's been around forever.
Interesting.
The last show I saw there before lockdowns was King Crimson, like 2019. And it's just an acoustically. I mean, it's one of the better sounding buildings. It's just made that way. It's an old theater, but I do like the smaller clubs. But they all have their differences. Metro's cool, but you go to the Aragon. Sometimes it sounds like crap. Sometimes it doesn't. Chicago theater is pretty good.
Yeah. What about the big festivals? That's because I used to go to Chicago and catch Lala like every couple of years. You ever done those up there?
Yeah, actually, last year was the first time I did Lollapalooza in like 20 years.
Is that on the lake?
That's the one in Grant Park.
Park.
Yeah, it's right down on the lakefront.
Is that it? What was the draw? I mean, to get you
The
out
draw
of
for me
hibernation?
this year was Metallica. I just wanted to go see Metallica.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah,
there have been so many bands that have played there, and I haven't gone just because of the chaos. It's just so big, and a lot of amateurs, kids going there, just getting wasted.
I can't do the festivals anymore. We have Bumbershoot up here, and I just can't.
You can't. You wouldn't go even on the VIP because I think that's like the as you.
If I got the VIP side, I got spoiled when I was in the record business. I got, in fact, I don't know if I ever told Vance. He knows this. I saw Led Zeppelin 3 times. Sorry about that, but I'm over this.
Yeah, this is a humble. I'm going to retitle as humble brag, boys. This is a really humble brag.
But yeah, and there obviously there's if any of your people, if the people from Rachel's Ghost come over, they'll say no, you didn't. you know. But my girlfriend worked for the radio station KSAN, which was the rock station premier at the time. And so we got free tickets in the VIP section. It wasn't the ones with the artists, but it's with the radio and record people. So it was on the side of the stage high up. So we were on one side of the stage separate, so I couldn't talk to them. But it was those last two concerts they ever did in America where one of them, they had the big fight. Bill Graham had a fight with, I guess, Peter Grant or someone from Zeppelin, huge on-stage fight. And then it was
that the Oakland shows?
Oakland show. Oakland.
Yeah, those were the last two U.S. shows.
The Day on the Green. And then what's his name's sons died.
Bottom.
Yeah, Plant's son died. That was the
Plant's
last
son
show.
died, and they canceled the rest of the tour.
Yeah, Graham's kid got rustled up by some of Peter Grant's henchmen.
Yeah, and there was
for stealing a sign off a dressing room door or something like that.
Yeah, it was a big deal. So, and Bill Graham, he was great, but he had a temper, and he had,
him and Grant were always butting heads, but he knew that Zeppelin would guarantee a sellout, so that's why they always worked together, even though they butted heads.
But that was it. That was the last time. So, but it was cool being on that side. So I wasn't with all it was like airy with with drinks and food and all that shit.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, that's the pro move, especially as you get older, because I gotta be honest with you, like I can't do all that standing for double-digit hours anymore.
I can't do big shows.
It's getting a little rough now. The older I get.
Yes. I mean, I'm
putting like insoles in my my boots. It's like, wow, man,
I don't
I'm really
stadiums anymore. I
kind of doing this. And, hey, mate, somehow is there anything I can lean on over here?
Breaking news: Vance with shape ups. It's okay, Vance.
Yeah, I'm not going to hide it.
Concert sponsored by Dr. Scholl's.
Scholl's.
I mean, hey, I'll take it. But even like last night at the House of Blues, I find a little spot. It's like on a step, so I get an extra 6 inches of height. Yeah. And there's a post behind me, and I can just kind of lean back.
Is that back by the bar in the back? There's
it's right next to the soundboard. There's those two steps.
Yeah, I know that.
That's right. There's a nice little cozy spot. I guess.
Yeah, the only time I was there, I stood there.
Yeah,
I like standing. I like going to shows alone too, because also, if you're with someone and if you want to leave early or want to stay late, I mean,
I want to beat the traffic. What?
Especially if they're not into the band,
they're still playing.
It ruins it for you.
Yeah,
it's kind of a drag. What was the last show you went to by yourself, man? I'm just curious.
I haven't gone a lot since the pandemic. I went to.
Because you went to Rycooter, right? I remember you, but I was probably.
I went to Rycooter alone in San Francisco. Rycooter and Taj Mahal at the Great American Music Hall. I went alone, and it's funny. And I had an extra ticket. I had 2 tickets, and no one would. I ended up giving it away. I gave it away to someone, and it wasn't a cheap ticket because they only did the one night for that album. That was it.
Huh.
I don't know what I see. I saw Stereo Lab a few months ago, but that was with my friend Todd. I haven't been to a lot of I used to go to a lot of shows. I think I remember seeing group Sunflower Bean and Lemon Twigs at a club here. What's great about Seattle, a lot of small clubs. I'm going to see. I don't know if I'm going alone yet, but next month or March, I'm going to see the Sadies. They're coming around again. They're the Canadian band, great, and one of the brothers.
Rob Lighten up. You hit it right in his wheelhouse, Canada.
That's right in my wheelhouse. I've met those guys many times.
I love that. I mean, it's so sad that Travis or Dallas died.
Travis has been doing a great job taking over as the front man, considering that's not a role that he wants to take.
I was curious about that. I've seen him 3 times, and I fucking love that band.
I fucking love them too. I had the privilege, because they're from Toronto and I live 45 minutes from Toronto. And I've seen them for 20 years, and they played in my hometown 20 years ago. I saw them in a restaurant with 10 people.
Wow! Now, did they get it? Do we have the new member, or what's the deal?
They've had a few guest vocalists from time to time, but it's just they're going on as a trio.
These guys, they're kind of combination of surf music, of rockabilly. I mean, they used to do this dueling guitar, like fast, like Dick Dale stuff. They're fucking, and sometimes they get very power pop with their vocals, or pop.
Up here we call them Cosmic Cowboys.
Yeah, they're so good. I mean, if you ever get a chance, they're playing these tiny clubs here. It's so sad. It's a tiny. Well, it's kind of nice for me, but it's a tiny club. But it probably holds less than 200 people.
Michael's right here.
They're great collaborators because they've made a ton of albums with a ton of other people.
Yeah, I have every album of theirs.
Yeah, same here.
Now, Michael, you're exactly right. And honestly, not to spill the beans, but that's kind of where the whole concert buddy thing came from. I had an idea like 10 years ago of doing like a social media company of people who wanted to go to a show, but weren't exactly wanting to do it on their own. Cause some people do need some encouragement and do need to kind of, get a little push. And so I was like, concert
Well, what's
buddy.
great is like, especially if it's a club and it's a stand-up thing, you can go up to the front, and then when you get tired, you can go back to the bar, and you can just go around to different parts of it. I saw, let's see, the Jayhawks. I went alone too. I saw them at the place here last year. I love the Jayhawks too. I mean, I like that kind of crossover country, whatever you call it, country rock a bit, I guess. Rootsy.
Yeah, there's a small club up here, Reggie's, that I like to go to. That's like that. It's just they got a little bar next door, dive kind of bar, rock club thing. It's a good place.
Yeah.
Rob,
You guys were talking about the way you store your record dolls. I'm like, I have ones that aren't sleeved. I have ones that are sleeved, and I do have ones that have the record behind them. So it's like a mishmash of everything you guys were talking about.
That's where I
It's
am
like,
now. Yeah.
Rob, Northern Revolutions. What was the last show you went to? Because I know you're a family guy.
I went by myself.
Yes, let's go.
Last week I went to see Blue Rodeo, and they were the Suffragettes were opening for them.
Interesting.
Awesome.
So your buddy that you just did, you're working on part 2. Sorry, not to tease your next video, but your friend who is in Blue Rodeo, who's also in Wilco, right?
Yep.
Did he go with you? Well, you said you went to the show, but does he still talk to the band?
He went the next day, but he lives in Kitchener where they were playing, and I was at the show, and he was texting me at the show. He goes, "Are you there tonight?" I said, "Yeah." So we actually met up a couple days later and shot the video.
Now, David Bianco, last concert, and you can't tell me that Styx guy in 1974. There's got to be another concert.
No, ironically, it was.
I think it was in Salina, Kansas, wasn't it, David?
Oh, was it?
All right. What am I missing? I
Chad,
missed something there.
played some riffs on me. Jazz.
But Chad. It's funny you say that, but it's true because Chad isn't there like a festival or something? He brings in talent. He brings in like Amos Lee was going there, and I love Amos. Like, why are you going to Salina? And I was like, oh, this must be Chad flexing and bringing in national bands.
Yeah, but no, my last concert was actually in late 21. I saw Carla Bonoff. And in 2 weeks, I'm going to see Carla Bonoff, ironically, again.
What now? You're going to have to help me. What style of music is that? I'm showing my.
She's like a folkish pop
singer-songwriter-ish too.
Yeah, she was with. She grew up through the Eagles stuff and all of those.
Linda Ronstadt did a couple of her songs.
Ronstadt
so like Laurel Canyon Sound era, is that where she kind of broke her bread?
Around that time.
Yeah, okay. But she's got her voice, as good as a writer as she is. Her voice is.
Yeah, she's a great writer. A lot of people. I think more people have done her stuff than her own people that know her as a singer.
Absolutely. Yeah.
I think she was on Columbia Records for a while.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
I don't have any of her records.
Someone to lay down beside me. That was Linda Ronstadt. She wrote that.
Yeah, beautiful song.
Yeah.
I think she was doing that when she was doing Warren Zevon songs.
Yes. Right.
And Randy Newman,
Yeah. She's got she worked with Andrew Gold a lot.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
And John, what was your last concert? Let's go around the horn and make everybody touch the bases. Was it that Bruce Hornsby?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, we work through we do fundraising through the March of Dimes, and they had an auction. So the auction came with free tickets to the concert, and you get a signed copy of the album. But it was cool because it wasn't with a band. I was expecting the Range or the Noisemakers or whatever. It was just him on a piano. So he did anywhere between Bach and Beethoven. Then he went into I Can't Make You Love Me to what's the one he did with Don Henley, Into the Innocence. So he did songs like that. So it's a really cool experience. So yeah,
it's almost like seeing the Grateful Dead.
Yeah. Minus the dead.
They're almost dead. Exactly. Is that what it is?
Yeah.
Well, he played with the Dead. I mean, he was probably the best singer he was the best keyboard singer the Dead ever had. They had like shitty singers.
Yeah.
Well, aside from Pigpen, someone was asking me once because I got that Final Me Please, Dead in the Dark, and they asked me what I like. I said I like the album, but I hate Brent singing. What's his name? Brent. Midland.
Yeah.
Myland. I just never liked his singing in the Dead. And
Now, Mazzy, I thought you weren't a Vinyl Me Please guy. Is this just an exception?
I'm not a member.
So
But every once in a while, like I bought, I buy the Fiona Apple records because I love Fiona Apple.
She's great.
So for me, I pay what, $5-6 more, and I don't have to join. Now sometimes it means I can't get something, but so be it. You know.
Yeah, that's good. Oh, we got a question for you from the gallery, Maz. Where did you get your Beatle prints at?
Like
You
on the
mean
wall
the,
behind you.
I guess
those?
Behind you.
The big ones?
I don't know if they're asking about that or the one behind your shoulder.
Well, both. Well, these are photographed by Richard Avedon, and that was the cover of Look magazine in 1967 when Sgt. Pepper came out and Avedon shot him. And literally, I sent away $7.50 for all 4 posters.
no good.
And a black and white one, which I no longer have of all of them. But those posters I sent away when I was 13, and they're the same ones I've had for all these years.
He's talking about the one behind you, I guess the Lennon.
Well,
right
this
over your
is a
shoulder.
print. Richard Avedon. I'm a photo agent, so I like collect photography. But this is actually a print, not a print, a poster print, but from Richard Avedon Estate, who took the picture. Same time he took those pictures, and I had it framed about 20 years ago.
Hey, talking about your work, you said this earlier, and please tell me if you don't want to expand, but you said you're winding down your business. Is this a new development, or?
I've been thinking, it's been going for a while, and the pandemic kind of put a nail in it. I'm a photo agent. I represent commercial advertising photographers like food packaging, and 37 years I've been in business for myself, and it's just, it's a whole different world now, and there's photographers doing things for $1 that used to get $100, whatever. I'm just
It's just very competitive. Right?
Yeah, and it's just there's a new generation of people at the ad agencies and the companies I've used to work with, so I think it's time.
Interesting. So is that why? Because I think somebody commented, I can't remember where, when you went out to lunch with some of your staff, and they were like, "Oh, is this a farewell lunch?" Is that kind of?
No. I don't have a staff. When I was in San Francisco last month, there's 2 other photo agent offices in San Francisco. It's my friend Marianne Campbell and another woman, Heather Elder, and we used to always be friendly competition. And 25 years ago, we started doing these holiday lunches because some people work with companies that have a holiday lunch or whatever,
Yeah.
or a dinner or a party, whatever. And we don't have, we have like 2 people in the office. We're not like big staffs. And so we decided to do it collectively, and we missed the 2 years of the pandemic, but this is our 25th and it's going to be my last one probably. But so they say I can come back. I just like to hang around these beautiful women. Though,
I saw that picture.
So
playing the long game. So then what's next? Is it? I hate to use the R word, but
I got tons of projects. Like I like the YouTube stuff, and that's it's a hobby that I enjoy. If I don't enjoy doing it, I'm making a little money on it, but I'm not doing it for that. Sure. And I enjoy that, but I just enjoy doing it. I have a few things, and I still do consulting for photographers and marketing things because I do the business side, copyright. And I'm 68 years old now. I should be retiring, but I'm not a retiring type of guy.
Hey, man, good for you. Good for you. Vance, how many streams you been on today? I just realized I was on.
Yeah, I know.
Evening one, like.
I jumped on Rachel's. I did Patrick's as I usually do. And
I thought I saw you on there. Yeah.
I don't have to work tomorrow, and I'm like, eh. And then I had to come.
It's a holiday. It's a holiday.
The first one.
It's the only reason. Yeah, we were just over at John's place, and John, what was it you're using? Prism, I think it was the software.
Yeah, I just use Prism because I can do my walk and talks with that. It's not
more like Prism.
Prism, yeah.
Prism,
yeah. So I was like, hey, why don't we just take the conversation over here? And clearly, I don't know what I'm doing, as several people reminded me today. But I think it's been fun. So
you're doing good.
We'll figure it out, man.
There will never be whoever at Stereo. There's never be a membership on my channel. That's not my. No. There's nothing to pay for. There's nothing to pay for.
You're not going over to Patreon to do special content.
Yeah, that would be. That'd be a real drag, man. If you went to Patreon.
Not for me. It's not. No. I mean,
OnlyFans.
I would consult for people. I would consult for people for other stuff.
Records and feet at OnlyFans.
Yeah, I was gonna say, Mazzy, you may be missing something because if you do these feet things, there are these weird feet people out there, and if you did an OnlyFans. You may be making a mint. You may be doing all right for yourself.
It's funny, when I was in San Francisco last month and I was there for a week, the one thing I thought, Jesus Christ, if I never moved, I would seriously consider doing like these special tours like, for people who want to spend a shitload of money, like you spend $500, $750 for the day, and I bring their family or their two of them, or maybe there's 2 or 4 to 4 people, and I drive them around San Francisco, the music sites, Amoeba, Jerison Airplane House, go to Sausalito, go to Marin.
Yeah.
People pay shitload of money for private tours.
They do that in Seattle.
And I know San Francisco like nothing else. Do the tourist stuff too, but do the rock and roll, base it on music. And people go to Haight-Ashbury just because they want to go to Haight-Ashbury.
Of course, yeah, guilty.
And I would do it there. I can't do it here because I don't know enough about grunge and where.
Yeah, but there's I know of a lady that does
head
that.
off
Like
and
a bus that
we can go to Jimi Hendrix's grave. I can take you there.
Ooh, that'd be cool.
So
somebody did that.
I did it on one.
Was he okay? Was you, Maz? Okay,
a few years ago on his 75th or whatever.
Yeah. Okay, that was you.
I think.
So David, here in Mazzy is going to have this really exciting life coming up. Are you anywhere close? I don't want to ask your age because that's
no. I'm 65. I'm in semi-retirement right now, and after this year, I'll be in full retirement.
So after calendar 2023, you're peacing out?
Yeah. I did full-time retirement last May, actually, or no, May of the year before, and then so I've been working part-time as kind of in consultant role.
Sure.
And I've got a consulting company. I'll do some stuff with that, but I'm the company I'm working for directly. I think the project will end this year, so that's perfect timing.
I can't even imagine.
See, what's great when you get old, Chance, is we don't do, but we tell people how to do it. It's like
because we can't do it no more.
In Woody Allen's movie Annie Hall, he says, "Those it's the famous quote: those who can't do teach." But then he says, "And those who can't teach Jim." You have to see it in context of Annie Hall.
Yeah, of course, yeah. No, I get. No, listen. Hey, I mean, anytime I think about it, I've still got at least 25 more years of this.
What are you, like 45?
43, yeah. So I've still got some time, but
yeah.
I mean, wow. I can't even imagine. I mean, it's got to be just so exciting, right? Like I mean, changing routines and stuff will probably take some time, but I mean,
I've worked for myself. I've worked for myself for 37 years, and 28 years of that we had an actual physical office, was separate. But then what I do now, I can work out of my house and I would travel a lot, go to Chicago and go to New York, go to Austin, go to LA, because all the ad agencies and corporations in Minneapolis, I'd go there once a year. And I love that because I go see music, go to record stores, eat out, go to restaurants. I love that. So David, I miss that a little bit, but
David, real question here. We need to get your insight. What any updates on that coveted Bonham Please pressing plant tour?
Looking at it'll be in first quarter, so between now and sometime in March, I think.
What part of Colorado are they putting that?
Denver.
So they're in Denver proper, like downtown with the.
I mean, it's like right outside the intersection of 70 and 25.
No kidding, huh?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Good to know. Oh, here with Jason Rojas. No, Jason, we're not going to shame you with your impersonations. Don't worry.
Nope, not going to do that.
Oh, yeah. I was talking about that because, spring, I guess they're doing a couple of MoFis, Springsteen.
Yeah, right.
Those are what, 125 or 150? What are they?
125.
125, right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
Which, those records aren't great sounding records to begin with. His records are somewhat compressed, but that box set, they did the Planjet process. So it's all digital on the box set they did, the Springsteen box, and they sound better than the originals.
Yeah,
so I said for $182, you can get all 7 albums, the first 7 Springsteen albums, instead of buying 1 or 1.5 of the MoFis. So I think that's if you're into
advice.
Springsteen.
Yeah, that's really good advice.
Oh, well, on topic, here you go, David, another one. What about the MoFi press? I'm going to try to interpret that as MoFi press.
Yeah. So
motif. No, the motif.
The motif. There's a new horse in the race.
That's what Mike Tyson used to say. I need motif. Anyway. So that one's trying to arrange an RTI, and it's really close to that. So, but I don't know what the status of their building is right now in terms of the MoFi plans.
Do you think, as Esposito has kind of referenced, and I've heard from some shop owners here locally, it's kind of slow right now in the new vinyl sales game, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible we're starting, obviously with inflation and obviously other kind of variable factors? Is it possible we're seeing at least a little slowdown where now these pressing plants are going to open and they've kind of missed that window?
The
What do you guys
growth
think?
last year was 4%, and if it wouldn't have been for Taylor Swift, it would have been in negative number.
No kidding.
I think it's going to level off to people won't have to do the FOMO like they're like
Right,
freaked out about
right.
buying it, which is I think is better. So
Yeah,
it's
for
going to level
everybody.
out, but we can't. I mean, the pandemic.
Yeah, that was an
Despite what everyone
unnatural
says.
fight. Yeah, that was
We were
unnatural.
home to do nothing, and people who are actually still working or got full unemployment or whatever it was,
Yeah.
they're buying records.
Well, they were buying records and shoes because I was with the Swoosh at the time, and we were really worried. And our sales were, you couldn't imagine. People were buying shoes to wear them where, I don't know. They weren't going anywhere. But
you know
we
me, I don't
crushed
wear
it.
shoes at home, so
But you do wear Nikes, and I've seen them. I've seen them in
I
your
do
video.
wear Nikes.
That's how I know you're.
I only wear black. I say I wear black all the time.
Rob, are you doing gymnastics? What are you doing over there?
No, man, I got my
hurt
shoes on at
yourself.
home too.
Hang on. What is that? Is that one of those Skechers shape ups again? What is that?
No, man, I'm a Saucony guy.
Well, hey, Saucony.
Saucony
The brighter
shoe,
the better.
Saucony
These are
shoe.
neon yellow.
That's just a really loud shoe. I thought maybe you're falling over in your chair because I saw your feet coming up, and
You're talking about Nike.
Pretending I'm on a roller coaster.
Man, I remember when the pandemic was going and they gave out the stimulus checks. 2 weeks after that, I went into a Walmart and every TV was gone. The ones on the wall, everything. They were
The
wiped
problem
out.
is people are stealing them right now. They're doing a smash and grab stuff. I don't know if that was.
No, I think that
stimulus
was
check.
actually people bought them because they had these checks
Yeah,
and they were
right.
sitting at home watching TV. Yeah. So
Yeah.
the whole economic cycle got turned upside down. For a lot of
Also,
ways.
I've been self-employed again for 37 years. So when you're self-employed, you learn you can write everything off. So for 37 years I've been writing my records off because also I work with record companies occasionally, or I used to, and so that's research stuff. But obviously now with the YouTube channel, I can definitely write everything off.
Man,
So
how are you writing
your
records off? Wait a minute, because I'm self-employed. What are you doing there?
Well, it depends what you do. It depends what do you do for a living?
Well, we're in Florida, so I own an assisted living facility. So
old people are dying. We're buying their record.
they like Led Zeppelin, right?
John, just write it off as an entertainment expense for the old.
Yeah, there you go.
Well, now that
Spoken like a true salesman, right there.
You can get me more records with my wife. Hold on.
No, but
Okay.
I've been monetized my channel about two years now, maybe. It's funny because I used to kind of be, which I don't want to get into the nitty gritty of it, but I was kind of friends for a couple of years, the first 2 years, with Michael 45. And at one point he goes, "Mazzy, you got to monetize," and I eventually did, and now I make enough. They give me a 1099 at the end of the year, and so buying records is it's an obvious write off for what I do here.
Okay. See, Chance, we'll be there.
It depends. When I was my
I got to start saving receipts.
Yeah, you can write anything off unless you get audited. You have to justify it. That's what it comes down to. So how do you justify it for your business? Maybe not with records. I don't know.
Anything beyond
Do
like
reviews, then if you do a review of a record, then for sure.
Yeah, I
Then
mean,
yeah.
Huh.
So
This is helpful. All right.
So Mazzy, I got one for you. I'm gonna wind it down here in a little bit, guys.
Yeah, I got it. Go too.
I got one for you, and I asked it to the guys because outside, obviously, Vance, most of us started our channel this year, right? So we're in year one. Looking at it from the other coin, and I asked this question to the guys. You've been doing this how long? How long have you been doing the videos?
5 years, really four, but I started 5 years ago.
So obviously, you have so much knowledge. You've been in the industry. You've got a lot of tribal knowledge. From the YouTube experience, what is the thing that you've learned the most in doing these videos for 5 or 6 years?
Well, I've said this on my channel. For me, it's been like a good therapy thing.
Okay, so therapeutic.
I said it in one of my recent videos. I'm kind of doing these as much as I love it, and I got
for your son, right?
Your
Kind of
son, I love that.
like a love
for
letter to
my
your son.
son's
Yeah, I
30,
think that's awesome.
My son's
That was
32.
good.
He doesn't. In fact, I talked to him the other day about it because I told him I mentioned him. But I mean, I'm doing it for myself. It's also, it gives me a release. Like I always thought, I'm an artist without a discipline. I represent artists, and I'm around artists all the time, photographers, and I've never had an outlet for myself. And I tell you, the first few times, this has gotten me to be a better speaker, to slow down. I mean, I tend to used to be riled up when I get my Eric Clapton bullshit, or I can go over the top.
Wanker.
But I've learned the little things like, look at the light. Like I have my laptop on now and I see the light. When I'm talking on my videos, look at the camera and not at the screen. You're looking down. All these little things like that. I mean, these are more physical things, but it drives me crazy when people have bad light and you're showing a record like this, and take it out of the fucking plastic. I mean, these are things about YouTube. I know it's a different question, but I keep thinking I want to make a YouTube video on making YouTube vinyl community videos, and I kind of keep putting it off, So I just like it. I've met the best thing is I met some great people. I mean,
that's
you
what I
all
say
guys.
Too.
I mean, people like my John, 6-inch pianist, the soul guy in Birmingham,
Mm-hmm.
and I have people now around the world that I like. If I ever do travel and drive around, I'm coming to your town, so watch out. I love it.
Yeah, it was like meeting up with Stunty in Sweden of all places. It's like, wow,
Did you meet him?
Yeah. Yeah, we went record.
He's real and he has legs and everything?
He's real. He had a shower following him around, but other than that.
Does he use conditioner in his hair?
Yeah.
Shoot in the shower.
Real deal.
What does he smell like? Did you get close enough to smell?
He's got to smell real good.
He's got to smell super good. I mean, especially when he's videoing from the shower. I mean, that's a very ambitious guy. Hey, before I wrap it up, Mazzy, one thing you touched on earlier, and I hadn't heard this till John mentioned it before, but are people coming at you saying that your experiences aren't authentic or something? Because you said it before.
It's funny. It started out maybe 2 years ago when I did a video and I think it was the anniversary of the Last Waltz, the band, the Last Waltz. Yeah. And I went to the Last Waltz. I mean, the thing is, I lived in San Francisco, I grew up in San Francisco. I went to Winterland almost every week or every other week. I went to shows there. And I worked in a record store. And in 1976, when they had that concert, it was $25, included a Thanksgiving dinner. That was a lot because tickets then were $5 or $6.
Yeah,
so
right.
It was a big deal, but like 4 of us went. And I talked about it, and someone started posting things. My friend went to the Last Waltz. I know you didn't go to the Last Waltz. Like there are 5,000 people there.
God. Wasn't it like a couple nights too? Or
did you see Bob? Remember Bob?
Bob,
do you keep all your tickets?
And then on Rachel's stream there was something else because I do talk about my experience. I mean, when us old men like David knows this. You wait till you're our age. You start talking about all the shit you went through.
Of course.
Back in my day, 1900, you talk about this stuff. So I love talking about the shows. It's good memories, and I use them in my videos. And some people say, oh, every time you bring somebody, you went to a certain show. You saw Led Zeppelin, or you saw 10 Years After, or whoever, Or I saw the Sex Pistols last show. Right time, right place. That's all.
I think that's part of your appeal, though, man.
Yeah,
somebody who's watching.
Just some people, but there's, we all got. You got getting these tweakers, these trolls.
we all do the this is a record, but that's your appeal is you've got a lot of personal experience.
It's a story, and if you don't like it,
that's why people watch you.
Yeah.
All right, so Rob,
that's kind of. I've been trying to do that too, is get more into the stories. That's why I started that album and concert series I've been doing, just to tell the stories, because it's like 10 years now, so holding up, hey, this is what I got. It's kind of everybody does that. So
that's I'm going to touch on that, and then we'll go around the horn, and that'll be it, guys. But Trevor has a great question, kind of what Rob had kind of touched on there. Advice for content beyond look at my vinyl haul, because I think particularly for folks just kind of getting into this, even folks who have been doing it for a hot minute, obviously there is a place for look at me, look at this, but I think Vance, you hit it on the head. Is anybody can do that, but the storytelling, and I think that's where Mazzy thrives. So.
Well, if you don't have this, I mean, not everyone has the story to tell, which is fine. But then listen to the record and wait. Don't show it until you listen to it, because there's a lot of people. I won't mention any names that seem like they hardly listen to it and then shelve it. So listen to the record and talk about like how to make what did it sound like? How did it make you feel? Who did the photography? Who designed it? I mean, there's so many things that a record can tell you. Where's the band from? And don't just quote Wikipedia shit all the time.
Right.
That's true. Well, I do think that, and Rob and I have talked about this, there is a degree of prep. And I think, Mazzy, you even said you do some prep work when it warrants it, right? And obviously whack-a-mole and all that stuff's kind of spontaneous, but
I'll put, like, if I pick a year on one of my personal things, I'll pull the records and I'll write down some
Bullet
what do you
points,
call it?
kinda.
Drops or pin things of a few things I want to talk about. I don't say what I'm going to say. Like if I'm talking about some girlfriend, Michelle, that I went out with in 1970, whatever, when that record came, I'll write Michelle, and I remember those stories.
So you're the mamas and the papas guy that did that. Okay, I get it. Okay, go ahead.
Right. Well,
The Michelle thing.
I mean, it's funny. Like it is like that 6 degrees of separation, Kevin Bacon shit. To me, my mind works. This leads me to that, leads me to that, but now it took me about 3 years before I started editing. So I'll do I might talk for 30 minutes on a video, and then stop and start if I feel I make a mistake, and I'll cut the bits out. So I edit now. On my phone. All I use is my phone and edit on iMovie. Really? That's all I do.
Huh.
Really?
I would have never thought you do the edit thing because I always, especially.
Well, you see those blurs sometimes because I realize sometimes I think I have a form of dyslexia. Sometimes I twist my words, and I've made mistakes, and people people always want to call you on your mistakes, which is fine. Correct me. Like someone, I think I showed Blow by Blow yesterday finally, and I said, "Oh, that was an SG." And of course, it's a Chet Atkins or not Chet Atkins. What's the guitar that Beck is playing on Blow by Blow? Not a country. It's
Country gent.
Not a country gent. It's what's his name? The
Les Paul?
Strat.
The guy who invented multi-tracking. Come on.
Hey, listen.
Les Paul. Les Paul.
Yeah, I said Les Paul. Yeah, I heard it.
Sorry.
Yeah.
That was like too easy. I was like,
and I said an SG, and of course I knew it was a Les Paul, and I said SG, whatever, and 3 or 4 people called me up, which is great. I didn't think to edit that out because I forgot. I didn't watch it, so I'll cut out things that I say. I twist things up occasionally,
But I do think that's a great point because even someone that reaches is large as yours, Mazzy, like the people do expect almost perfection. You know what I mean? Yeah. And last time I checked, most of us don't get any compensation for this. So it's really interesting when the people come at you in the comment section like, "Oh, that was actually 1972." Like human error. Like it happens.
I don't mind that. I don't mind. It's when they say when they get belligerent about it.
Yeah, right.
Well, it's all about the approach. Yeah. If they just kind of correct, like I've had that happen from people I respect, and I'm like, oh yeah, missed that one, no problem. But sometimes
I mean, someone watched a Bowie ranking I did, and I think I don't even remember now because if I did a ranking a year later, it would probably be different. Maybe not the top 3 or 4, but the record. And I like Tonight better than Man Who Saved the World. And some guy just watched it the other day and said, I watched that. And once you said, do you like these two? I couldn't watch anything beyond the first 3 minutes or something like that. Which is
why bother
fair enough.
That's what I mean. Like just to put that vitriol out there, like, okay, cool. Thanks. I'm going to go walk into traffic today. I mean,
yeah. But you always notice those people that comment like that, you click on them, they have like no content. They're just
I would never shame somebody and I wouldn't call them out for it, but you're exactly right, Vance. It's
there's people, as we all know, there's asshole tweakers that are totally anonymous that say shit ass stuff.
I mean, it's easy to comment from the cheap seats.
I mean, it's easy to be anonymous, but you put yourself up here, and even when we do these streams, I mean, if you do, you should do more of these. Get yourself a name for them and do more of them regularly because they're great. You'll get the same, you get tweakers showing up. It's just the nature of it.
Why do you call them tweakers and not trolls? I'm just curious. Is it?
I don't know.
Because tweakers, I'm thinking are like junkies, and maybe it's a West Coast thing. Like trolls, I thought was like the
we might get Fred Putterman up here, so we
don't know.
Hey, whoa!
I love Fred. Come on. Okay, that's when like Rob got pissed at me because I showed the Queen is Dead album the day the Queen died.
That was ridiculous. I saw what you were doing. That's
I can be an asshole. I'm not beyond it. I could do some shit ass over the top and stuff. Whatever.
I don't know.
Well, fellas,
he really took it to heart, though. I mean, it pissed him off.
Well, guys, I appreciate it. This again, very spur of the moment. I mean, this is my popping that cherry, but I appreciate Mazzy, Vance. Thanks for coming in.
Rob is here. Rob Walker's here.
Oh my!
See, that's the thing. If I say anything about anyone, they're going to be
the antenna popped up. He woke up from a dead sleep like Michael Jackson Thriller. He woke up in the middle of the bed and was like, "Oh my God."
Well, I always say,
Michael. If I said something about Michael 45, but not disparaging, just we had a falling out. That's all. So he's probably watching, Or I said you guys were talking about the sleeves and the stores and stuff like that. So
Well, we were talking
I was
about you
saying-
before you came on too, and then you popped up. So it's like, yeah.
That's right. You were just Summit. It was like Vincent Price. You just came from out of nowhere. And
I'm
next
binge
thing you're
watching
backstage.
Billions
If
finally.
you say his
have you
name
watched
3
Billions?
times,
Yeah,
Mazzy shows
yeah,
up.
I did. Yeah, man. Yeah, that's good show.
stuff. All right, guys. Thanks for
All
the
right,
time.
guys.
And yeah,
All right.
yeah. If you guys, I'll do it
Good
again
meeting you.
sometime.
All
Yeah.
right.
Appreciate
See
you
you
jumping on.
guys.
Have a good one, fellas.
David.
Take care, guys. See you.
Bye,
guys.
Yeah,
Later.
bye. Later. Good job, Chance.